How to connect up your home voiceover studio. Hello, I'm Peter Baker from Voiceover Masterclass. So, you've decided to have your own home studio. Good for you. Just think of the advantages. No more paying external studios for recording sessions. No more waste of time traveling to them. The ability to record for clients in other time zones when your local commercial studios are unfortunately shut. And quick demo recordings at home whenever your agent rings up or whenever you're asked to do so by a direct client. So if you're going to do this voiceover stuff properly, you do need to have a recording facility at home. So let's quickly look at the equipment you need. First of all, you need a good environment. This is a professional voice booth, but it doesn't have to be as posh as this. This is like a big telephone box, all soundproofed and with acoustic treatment all round to make sure it sounds just fine for the microphone here. But you can get away with an area that maybe doesn't look as nice, but to the microphone, it certainly is acoustically good. In other words, duvets around you, things to dampen any sound reflections. In your recording location, you need to give yourself a choice as to whether you want to sit down or stand up. That's why in here I've actually got two screens, one at the bottom and one higher up there, which both show the same things. Now, these are connected through various USB leads to a cupboard the other side of the room there, where my big tower computer is. It's not in here with me because it's far too noisy. Even though it's fairly quiet and cooled by water, you still got those pesky whirring fans coming round. Now, maybe you don't want to have a big tower computer, which I actually use for my other studio as well. It's all connected up together. If you're starting out, maybe you just want a simple laptop. That's perfectly okay. And so in your recording booth like this, or your location where you're doing your voiceovers, you'd have two shelves, a lower one for sitting down and a higher one for standing up. The important thing about your laptop is it must be quiet. You'll be reading your scripts off it. It'll be very, very close to the microphone. So you don't want to have any pesky hard disk drives clacking away inside there, do you? So basically, it needs to be silent. So solid disk drive, please, and also no fans at all unless it gets very hot, and it won't be for just general audio work. So make sure you do your research and get a silent laptop. So, as well as the computer, what else do you need? You need a microphone, you need a pop filter, you need a stand, you need the wires, and you need the computer interface, which turns the analog signals from the microphone into digital ones that the computer can understand. Then there's software as well, and then you need monitoring. So, all that sounds really complicated. Here's the list of what we recommend at Voiceover Masterclass. So you need to have the budget for soundproofing, acoustic treatment, or a ready-made voice booth. Also, as discussed, a silent laptop as well. A Neumann TLM 103 microphone. If you can afford it, get one of these. Its value won't depreciate that much and is about half the price of the legendary U87 microphone, which is used in all broadcasting studios worldwide. And for speech, it would take a very good ear to notice any difference at all. So TLM 103 if you can afford it, and the shock mount that comes with it. A Rode PSA-1 swivel mount swing arm, a double pop filter, or one of the Pronomic Pop Killer filters I recommend. Focusrite Scarlett Solo USB interface, get the latest version of that. Bayer Dynamic DT250s are the world's most comfortable headphones in my opinion, and a decent set of monitoring speakers or a JBL Charge 5 Bluetooth speaker is superb quality. And don't skimp on the cables. Get quality screened cables. Don't sink a ship for a ha'porth of tar, as they say. So that's fine. You've got it all arrived in boxes. How on earth do you connect it all? Well, let's start off with the microphone. This is the Neumann TLM 103 here, and it's in a cradle. And the cradle comes with these little rubber bands. Now, I've had this for years, and these have stretched over the years, and so it takes a while to re-thread it. It's a bit pesky, but you do need this because these little wires stop any vibrations getting through to the microphone here. The pop filter is absolutely essential, of course. This one happens to be a double one and a small one, so I can see the screen clearly. Although in my other studio, I do have a see-through metal one with slats at 45 degrees, which is a really good innovation. And this cable goes into my little Focusrite box down there. This is the Focusrite Scarlett Solo, only one channel. If you're considering doing interviews with people, maybe for podcasts. And by the way, we have a complete course on creating, producing and marketing podcasts on voiceovermasterclass.com. But if you are thinking of doing that, interviews, then get a 2-channel one. But it's just me here, so it's only a 1-channel. It's called the Scarlett Solo. You simply plug the USB male side into the left-hand side, and then you start speaking, and you see the little green light flicking away there as I speak. If it goes red, that means it's distorted. So just do it so that it kicks into the green, which is normally at the halfway position. So halfway position for control number 1, and forget control number 2, which is for a guitar input. And on the left-hand side, you'll see 48V. That means 48 volts, which is phantom power. That needs to be on to power your Neumann microphone or any other microphone that needs phantom power. Air changes the preamps inside. You just need to experiment, see if you like air on or not. On the right-hand side, there's the input socket for your headphones and the monitor volume for that. And the little green USB light will light up when it's all working fine. And the direct monitor is for when you're being directed over the headphones. It's up to you whether you want to wear headphones or not when you're recording. If it's just me on my own, I usually don't bother because I like to hear my own voice through my head. But obviously you have to wear headphones when you are being directed by someone in another studio in another part of the planet. So that's where on this machine you then need to push direct monitor on the right-hand side, or else you won't hear yourself or them. And then you turn up the volume. Now, what you may like to do is also buy a separate headphone amplifier. The Focusrite is pretty good for amplifying for the headphones, but sometimes you just want to amplify a little bit more. I'm getting a little bit deaf, so this is an extra little amplifier I've bought here. Now, I don't want to complicate things if you're just starting out, but when you get into it in a big way, the last thing you want to do is do a great take and it hasn't been recorded properly or it's a little bit distorted. So a variation you can do is to split the feed from the microphone. So you use a Y splitter like this one that you can easily get from Amazon very cheaply. And so one side of the microphone goes into your Focusrite device that goes into the computer, and the other side goes directly into a solid-state recorder. And you record on there as a backup. And that can be at a slightly lower level as well. So if you're doing any shouty voiceovers and it happens to be distorted on your computer, then you use the recording you used on your solid-state recorder. It's just a backup. You don't have to do this. So let's assume you're recording on your computer and you've got your waveform on the screen there. Once you've finished recording, you stop, and then you simply play back. And you would play back via your laptop, or I have from my tower computer there. It goes through a little power amplifier to my speakers here in the voice booth. But to keep things simple, and especially if you're using a laptop with Bluetooth, then use one of the excellent high-quality Bluetooth loudspeakers so you can hear your voiceovers much better than through the tiny, tinny speaker of the laptop. So what about setting up the computer? Well, if you have a Windows one, go into Control Panel, then click Sound, and make sure both on Playback tab here and on Recording it says Focusrite USB Audio, or whatever is the name of your USB interface. So there we are. You'll see it's the default device. So you need to do that for your whole computer. But then in the software you're using, whether it's one of the free ones like WavePad, or you have Audacity, of course, but I use Adobe Audition. In here, you go to Edit, and then Preferences, and then down here to Audio Hardware, and you make sure the default input is Focusrite, default output is Focusrite, or whatever, again, is your USB interface. And the latency, just leave it as it is with the sample rate at 48,000 hertz, because that is what most people who need audio for video recordings need, that particular sample rate. And by the way, you don't change that in Audition, you change that in the software driver. So you need, for example, if you've got Focusrite, download the Focusrite driver and you can change the sample rate in there. So click out of that. What about the levels? Let's just go into Record here. And this is me recording now. And you'll see that waveform goes to about -12, -9 maybe. If I go a little bit loud here, you see the numbers on the right-hand side. And that's perfectly okay. If the waveform was less than this, then the signal to noise ratio wouldn't be very good and it would be a little bit hissy, because at the end of recording, and I'll stop recording now by pushing the space bar, if you normalize it, going through effects, amplitude and compression, normalize, which is what you would normally do before you send it off to anybody, and you would normalize it to -3, which is sort of industry standard. Apply that, see it gets bigger, and that's the waveform you would send. You don't record with it that loud, just to give it a little bit of headroom in case you get some peaks that may distort. So that's perfectly healthy. You've now set up your computer. So I hope you found all that useful. Good luck setting up your own home voiceover studio. It's a decision that you won't regret. And if you'd like to learn more about voiceover, both in setting up your studio in more detail, learning how to get your first jobs, how to grow your business, and how to find a niche that you can really excel in and enjoy more as well, then please check out all our courses at voiceovermasterclass.com. Thanks for watching.